Last night, it came out that Jimmy Kimmel Live, the program hosted by Jimmy Kimmel, late night show on ABC, will be preempted indefinitely. That's from a spokesperson from ABC who hosts that show. What we've got here now is people on the right cheering, including the President of the United States, and people on the left crying censorship, including the former President of the United States, Barack Obama. And we're going to break this down. We're going to talk about what it is, what it isn't, some opinion about what it may be, as we see the second most highly rated late night television now indefinitely suspended. This comes on the heels of Stephen Colbert's program being completely canceled by CBS News just months ago. So what does this look like? A lot of this stems from Jimmy Kimmel making a statement in a monologue on Monday night. I'm not going to play the statement, but he effectively said that the people on the right did a lot of work over the weekend to try to say that the Charlie Kirk assassin was a member of the left, when in reality, he was a member of the right. That was a demonstrably false statement, but you started to see kind of a grassroots movement among the providers, the local networks, the local station owners, including Nexstar and Sinclair Broadcasting, that own the ABC affiliates across the country, say, we are going to preempt this show. We didn't like that statement. We're going to play something else. Now, that is has a lot of things tied to it, whether it be their FCC license as broadcasters. They are regulated by the Federal Communications Commission, or it may be that in the parts of the country where they operate, that's not the content that their audience wants to see. As a reaction to that, ABC, the parent company, Disney, decided to pull him indefinitely from air. Now, there's a lot to get into this. Is this a financial decision by Disney? Is this censorship, as many on the left are trying to say? I don't think so. I don't think it's censorship like they want you to believe. One thing that we also have to look at with this, as the right cheers that Jimmy Kimmel is no longer going to be on air, and as the left cries censorship and government overreach in this case, I think we need to also look at the entire medium of late night talk shows at this point, because we already know that Stephen Colbert was canceled, his entire program, and he was the leader of late night talk shows, had the best ratings or just a few months back. And there were already articles starting to come out about what happens to Jimmy Kimmel. He was in second place, didn't have as much viewership. It was about 750,000 viewers average less for his program than the Colbert Show. But I do want to start off by saying I believe that the art form of comedy in and of itself, many times is designed to push boundaries, to make people uncomfortable. There's obviously different styles of comedy. There's different things. But in the history of late night television, especially in the modern era, many times, especially if you think back to Jay Leno and things of that, their mockery would be of those in power, not based off party. It was pretty uniformly across the board that they took shots at all of the different people in power, and that their comedy was made to give commentary on those in power in a different way, in a lighthearted way in some ways, and sometimes in a very jarring way. A lot of that had shifted over the past 5, 6, 10 years, where it became very one-sided and was pointed mostly at the right, and the left was given a fair pass. Now, I don't believe that there was anything wrong with that decision by these writers and monologues, that was their choice to make. You have the choice to watch or not watch. The fact is, though, Jimmy Kimmel in the second quarter of this year averaged about 1.7 million viewers a night. That was about 750,000 less than the leader, Colbert. Only 220,000 in the target ad demographic, 18 to 49 years old. That's where they make the bulk of their money. We know that year over year viewership, late night shows were down 9% in total viewers and 21% in the demo. when you think about that, people were already talking about, is Jimmy Kimmel going to be the next one to fall? Forbes wrote in July of this year, the fate of late night TV may now be with Jimmy Kimmel Live. The host, Jimmy Kimmel's contract with Disney is set to end in 2026, and its renewal or lapse will say something about the genre more generally. So when you look at what happened, where Nexstar and Sinclair Broadcasting started to say, we're just going to preempt this show. And Disney made a decision to preempt it indefinitely. So right now he is not fired by the company and the show has not been officially canceled. I genuinely think that this is a business decision by Disney. I think it may be opportunistic, that this is something, a moment we can use and not even have to get to the painful negotiation process of renewing or not renewing. Not a single individual that has been going much further than Jimmy Kimmel even did. People that are celebrating the assassination of an American, of a father, of a husband, celebrating it. They're not being arrested by the government. No, but are they losing their jobs? A lot of them are. Why? Because the employer thinks it's disgusting and doesn't want that to be a part of their workplace culture or something that they want representing their company. And I think that that's fair. I think that the private employer has the right to decide that. And to your point, there are consequences to speech. It doesn't mean that the heavy hand of the government is coming down and prosecuting you or silencing you if your private employer decides, I don't want to be associated with you anymore. You don't have that right to say whatever you want, and there not be consequences in your personal life. So I just say that I agree with you, Justin, but I also want to make sure that we are careful with the First Amendment. We do stand for robust speech. Even speech that is considered disgusting or hateful is not criminalized. People have the right to say things, and they can suffer consequences in the public arena. And we can combat that speech with more speech by pointing out their speech. So we just need to make sure that the United States doesn't overcorrect in certain places and end up in what you see, like what is happening in the United Kingdom right now, where they don't have the free speech protections that we have in the United States. And speech that would be allowed here, that would be fine here. People are suffering. They're having arrests. They're having protests put down. They're having a lot of things happen. They're being barred from entering the country. And we don't want that in the United States because we do have these protections that are enshrined in our Constitution.
It's been more than a week since they assassinated Charlie Kirk. And we haven't seen any riots. We've seen prayer vigils. We haven't seen buildings being attacked, looting, or fire bombed. What we've seen is prayers. What we've seen is people gathering for vigils to say, pray for Charlie, pray for his family, pray for our country, drawing the line that this can't take place. And I'll tell you, I'm sick and tired of seeing the left really justify in many ways that Charlie was taken out because of his beliefs. There's too much narrative going on with, well, he sowed this and he deserved it. They don't get to say that and then at the same time complain that they are being fired from their jobs for their radical beliefs. You don't get to kill someone for their beliefs and then say you can't fire me for my beliefs. And this is the temperament. This is the spirit of what these people are trying to say. And I think we've moved away from cancel culture. People aren't canceling each other just because they don't like something. They're not running out of the room with their fingers in the ears. They're not trying to debank people. What is happening right now is the consequence culture. When you say something that is targeting someone and really pushing the mentally ill to take violent actions because you're saying that person is a fascist or a threat to democracy, the left has got to take responsibility for what they're doing.
Former President Barack Obama is calling this cancel culture and saying that it's the administration pressuring these organizations to fire people. But in reality, they may just be seeing a pretty prime opportunity to clean up their bottom line when this medium is going away. People don't like these shows anymore, and now is maybe the time to just part their ways.